coming back from your coffee break, and it's such a lovely day, and I'm so grateful to be here. So I'd like to thank, of course, the wonderful host, Fischer, for inviting me, Publications for bringing me here. And also I would just like to say thank you for this, because it's become the greatest gift of the day so far. And thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful introduction. Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about language change and back to the future and beyond. And one of the things that I am very passionate about and very interested in is how language changes over time and how quickly language changes. And it changes so fast that we just can't keep up with it very often. So over the course of the next 50 minutes, I'm going to look a little bit back into the future about how language has changed, and also in this rapidly changing world in which we're teaching in. I don't know about you, are you finding it really easy to keep up with the language that your students are using? Yeah. I start feeling very old very often, you know, and I kind of think of myself as being relatively ageless in ELT. I think being in ELT keeps us ageless to an extent, except for when it comes to some of the language that we're going to be looking at today. So this talk actually is, it sits within a broader framework of research that we've been doing on the use of social media for language learning and the role that AI plays within that. And what we're essentially going to be looking at today is why it's important that we understand and recognize the language that our students are using outside of the classroom and how they're using social media and AI to actually enhance their learning. So I'm actually really happy I'm here because all my wonderful colleagues in their talks today have all mentioned things that are going to pop up in this talk. So one of the things that I think is really important to look at is how language changes, and it does change as we age. So I want you to just think about your own lives in your own language. I know for myself, I grew up in North London, and I didn't speak like this growing up. I don't know if anybody thinks North London accent is not very much. And, you know, I got a lot of slaps around the back of the head from my mother when I say things like, "Can I have a bottle of water?" And she would write, "There are two T's in that word, and I'd like to hear at least one of them, please." You know, this was like the narrative I grew up with. And actually, during COVID, when I was doing a lot of teaching online, my brother was visiting me and he heard me teaching online, and afterwards he was like, "That was really weird to listen to. You don't talk like that. You sound like Margaret Thatcher." And I was like, I'm not going to go down that road. I was like, "That's my teaching voice." And he's like, "Well, stop it." It's weird. So, you know, and I noticed that my English has improved as I've aged, you know, and I'm still only 15 and a half plus a few years experience. Our language also changes depending on our circumstances. So who are we talking to? What do we want? What is the required response from whatever it is that we're saying? Like, so if you were in Hugh's talk before, for example, do you fancy going out for a drink tonight? You know, would you say that to your boss on the first day of work? No, you might say, "May I invite you for some light refreshment this evening?" For example. You wouldn't say that either. But also, we have to think about the way in which we communicate, the timelines as well, and, oh, what's happened here? Okay, and how all of this happened. So how did all of this happen, all of this language evolution? And it goes back to a simple question, which is why we actually learn to speak in the first place. And the only reason we learn to speak is through our desire to communicate. So I've had lots of lovely conversations with lots of wonderful teachers over the course of today. I'd like to thank everybody for them. And one of the things that came up was the question of love. And this is something that, you know, people often say to me, what's the easiest way of learning a foreign language? I said, just fall in love with someone who doesn't speak your language. And really fall in love with them. And you will learn to communicate very, very quickly. You know, and there's lots of research on this. The other question we're going to look at is, why do we need AI? Do we need AI? Yes, why? Who said yes? Someone said yes. Yes, why? In order to improve what? All the skills. Okay, I like that. All right, why else do we need it? To make our lives easier. Does it make our lives easier? Yeah, of course it does. Once we learn how to use it, absolutely. Okay. So, can we trust it? Not fully. Yeah, thank you for saying that, because it used to be no. And I remember the first conference I was at after the launch of AI, ChatGPT. AI has been with us for an incredibly long time. But, you know, and teachers, I'll never give students homework again. Of course you will. So I want to also think about one of the biggest influences on language is music and fashion. And actually politics, music and fashion. I didn't put that in there because there is a huge link. But a huge, huge influence on language is that, oh, do I have a little pointy thing? So this, oh, there's no light, or you can't see it. So, this little gadget here, what's that called? A Walkman, yeah, a Walkman that became known as or evolved into... Oh, before MP3, it went through another evolution. A Discman, yes, we did a Walkman, a Discman, and then what happened? MP3, now we're at MP3, and now where are we? Our phones, basically, our phones, of course we are. But also just think about this. I mean, seriously, we haven't been on the planet very long. I mean, I haven't been on the planet very long. And I can already think of many, many different words for this simple device. Okay? So I just want you to take literally just 10 seconds with the person sitting next to you and run through as many new words you can think of that have changed in your lifetime. So things like this, like Walkman to Discman to MP3 player to Spotify, let's just say. Okay, can you think of some other sets or word chains that have changed over time? Just have a chat. Think about your own languages, because I know that obviously we're here in beautiful Romania, but there are lots of other languages in the room. So what other words have changed? What new words have come into your lexicon in the last 10 years, let's say? Okay, does anyone want to share anything weird and wonderful? Anyone? Sorry? TV set, yes. TV set, the goggle box, yeah, the tube, lots of these. Okay, so one of the things we can thank is digital communication, of course. I mean, we can't ignore digital communication. It's where we are now. We're all communicating all the time. Even today, we've got all our lovely online people. Hello, online people. And, you know, and it's the wonders of technology that enable us to do this. Also, I don't know if anyone's read any of these books, but we were prepared for this. So actually, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is one of my favorite books. Has any of you ever read that? It's the book behind the story for Blade Runner. Have you seen the film Blade Runner? Okay, read the book. It's fantastic. But, you know, Hollywood's been preparing us for this for a long time as well, okay? I remember when 1984 seemed such a long way into the future, and now how far in the past is it? Okay. And who or what do you think are the greatest language influencers? Almost, well, you're close. Warm, no cigar, warm. People, yes, specifically. All people, every single generation, okay, are the greatest influences, okay? So, I'm based in Hungary, and I had to learn Hungarian. I wanted to learn Hungarian, but I had to learn Hungarian. I lived in Hungary. It's not an easy language to learn, okay? And my kids didn't know a word of Hungarian when we moved there. They were 12 and 8. And the Hungarian that they learned was very different to the language that I was learning. It's so much so that actually their teacher asked me specifically, please don't use Hungarian at home. Seriously, they asked me, I was talking to her in Hungarian and she said, please don't use Hungarian at home with the children. And basically they were learning colloquial Hungarian, and I had no idea what they were talking about. Because they talk together in Hungarian. I speak to English. I speak to English? I should stop speaking English. I need that coffee cap, please. I speak to my kids in English. My son responds to me in Hungarian. My daughter and I only ever communicate in English. They always communicate in Hungarian. You can imagine a dinner scene in my house, okay? But the point is, they're using words like, the word for sunglasses in Hungarian is napszemüveg. My kids say szemcsi. So when my daughter's running around going, hol a szemcsi, like, where are my sunglasses? I'm like, I can't help. What's a szemcsi? No idea. It's slang. Okay? New to me. So this is what I'm saying. So these people, and this is why the language is moving so quickly, and it's really moving forward. Today there seems to have been a theme of boxes. Anne started with boxes, Kat used boxes, I'm using some boxes today. There is a game called Connections. Do you play Connections? Yeah? Okay, we're going to have a quick round of Connections. What you need to do is find 4 words in 4 groups. So there are 4 groups, each group has 4 words. You need to find the 4 groups, and you need to put the correct 4 words into each group, please. Okay, so just talk to the people sitting next to you. And then just put your hand up when you think you've got a group. Okay. So. You can also put your hand up if you know any of them. I'll give you another minute. This. Have a look at this, for example. Have a look at this. Have a look at this. Okay, do any of you have any of the words? Do any of you have one word? Shout out a word you might have. Riz, slay, slay that dragon. Yes? No. Well, I understand slaying a dragon. What does slay really mean?
I'm not sure exactly. Something really well.
To kill the dragon. Yeah, slay a dragon, kill the dragon. But not now.
No, nowadays it's like when you're cool. That's slay queen. Yeah.
Yeah, you're killing it. You're doing it right. Like us teachers, we're slaying it every single day in the classroom. Yeah. Someone mentioned Riz. Riz? I'll help you. Okay, here are your 4 groups. Okay? Can anyone tell me the 4 groups? Can anyone tell me one of the groups? I help you. One is related to music, one is related to social media, one is related to culture. No, and two are related to culture, but two different types of culture. The pink one. The blue one is music. Why is the blue one music? It is music. Well done. Why? Ah. I love this. You see, this is how we think about language, because there's baby in it, and people sing about babies. Baby, baby. I'm not going to, I've got a mic. God, no, don't let me start singing. God, no, you'll all be out drinking more coffee or something stronger. Okay, go on. Yes, thank you. So, pink, K-pop. Let's move forward with this. Okay, so... Pink, K-pop culture, thank you, well done. You win a biscuit, okay? So, something very visual related to selfies. Here we are, creating visuals as we speak. Thank you for putting the words into action. Okay, so Riz Slay, Ohio Skibbity, came from TikTok, sung into social media, all over, everywhere now, Instagram, Facebook as well. Riz, obviously meaning charisma, and was actually the word of the year in 2023. Do you know what 2024's word of the year was? Manifestation. Yeah. Okay, and then the music one, you were right, it's music, but these are all rappers whose names begin with Lil. Okay, and root burst spawn grind gaming language. Why is this important? Why am I talking to you about this? I'll show you why. This is why. Okay, this is a piece of free writing. What age group? Yep, primary, upper primary. Look at this. Beautiful. I liked how they're trying to help us become the internet is not safe. I like the plushies. The way Jake messed up made me laugh. The music is not demure. That's an A1 word, is it not? A2, A3, A4, A5, and let's not even get into the B. Come on, demure. Okay, the video 8. They cooked very hard. You know, you could read this and what is she talking about? Seriously, what is she? This is beautiful language. This is beautiful use of language. This is a beautiful example of colloquial language used perfectly in context by an 8-year-old. Wow. Yep. I would like to take pictures of some of their faces right now. Because they're like, oh, seriously? Okay, this is a piece of writing. The students were asked to create a post. There's a swear word in there. I do apologize. I did think about blanking it out, but I haven't. Okay, about mental health. Piece of free writing. My post, revised edition, the Syndicate. Mental health check, fam. Don't let those Ohio vibes get you down. With the emojis, stay strong. Don't let the skibbity toilet of life flush your good vibes. Remember, even the biggest beep need a mental break. No cap. I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. No cap. Talk to your homies, take a breather, and remember, it's okay not to be okay. This is work submitted in the last academic year. This is a piece of free writing I did with lower secondary school in Poland. Okay, they had a free writing task. They were writing about, they just watched a short video about Halloween with no text, and they had to write a story about the images that they'd seen. Skibbity Simeg Tomek sleeps in a coffin because he's a vampire. Tomek is in the haunted house and fell over the wooden stairs. I see a ghost in this haunted house. Tomek has run away because he saw a skeleton, fell out to face on pumpkin, not Sigma. Okay? Now, if I wasn't familiar with this language, you know, I would have my red pen, which is purple, by the way, because I don't like using red pen, but all over this, but I don't, because I understand this language. And I have to understand this language. It's my job to understand this language. It's our job to understand the language that our students are not just accessing, but they're learning outside the language classroom, and they're using it correctly in context. And we can't fault them for that. But this is what actually, when I was in Hugh's talk before, and he was talking about forward-back translation, and then with all of these tasks, my first thing is, okay, I love that. That is wonderful, thank you. Could you now write it in classroom appropriate language, please? Okay? And then that's an additional follow-on task, and that's beautiful, because they, you know, you end up allowing them to use authentic language, and this is their authentic language, okay? And then you just roll the exercise out, a bit like Anne did this morning, you remember, with the picture, and then just how do we roll that exercise out and create the next task and the next task and build the language up? This is exactly what we're doing, but with their own language. And then we're like, okay, now rewrite it in something a little bit more appropriate to our educational context, because we can't use this language everywhere. You can't use this language in your matura exam, for example. Okay, so it's important. But the point is that our kids, our students, they are learning language like this outside of the classroom. Okay, one of my friends sent me this and said, hey, I just put this together for my students as an assessment tool, because I want my students, I want to be speaking my students' language. I want them to understand the assessment criteria. Okay. And this is a friend of mine who teaches in Austria in primary school. And this is what she uses with her students, so they understand their assessment. So let's come back now to AI and its use in the classroom. Now, I said this fits into kind of a bit of a broader topic and a broader study that I'm working on with a friend and colleague of mine who actually wrote her PhD in the use of social media and AI in autonomous learning, basically. Now, what you can do, so the next few slides, I kind of put little videos together. So you're going to watch videos, okay, like as demonstrations. But these are things for you can do yourself. You'll be familiar with some of these platforms, I'm sure. Okay, but the point is, our students are using AI. We're using AI. Everybody's using AI. Okay? I'm going to ask you a question. When your students, so I'm talking now, let's say, secondary up, okay, and adults, okay? How do you think they're using AI? What do you think they're using AI for in terms of written assignments for us and homework and things? What do you think they do? Copy-paste? Okay. Most of them. Okay. So actually, a lot of them are putting in a lot of effort, okay, into producing homework for us, okay, in many different ways. So what we did, we asked students, like, talk us through what you did to submit this work, okay, and then I put this together from that, okay. So I hope this is going to work. The wonderful techie guys assured me. So I'm not going to go through these tools because you know all of this and it's not worth, but just look how many tools there actually are, okay? So these are 3 tools we're going to be looking at now. Can you guess which tools or which AI platforms these are? So one of the most well-known generates text, works with external files. The other one does that, also gives sources, recommends videos and pictures, and then the third one does all of that, okay, but also generates audio files. Do you know which these could be? Chat? Perplexity, but also you've got Gemini Copilot, a lot, do a lot, okay? And Notebook LM. So these are three we're going to look at today. And of course, you've got Gemini Copilot and a million others. I mean, come on, they're just new ones coming out. I think the last time, there's a website you can look at. There's an AI for that. There's the same as there's an app for that. There's an AI for that. And there's like thousands and thousands. And if you go on it in 2 days' time, there'll be another 10,000 on there, okay? So these are the three that we're going to look at. So this is just a little, I just want to show you, this is what learners do. And they do this on many levels. And they do it from secondary, tertiary, adults. I do it. If you don't, you can. Okay? And it's brilliant. And actually what I started seeing is they put a lot of time and a lot of energy into this use of AI. They're not just willy-nilly. I mean, some people are. Okay? And we can go into, okay, we need to teach them how to write prompts and things like that. Of course we do. That's another talk, another workshop. You know, we're going to be here all week talking about it. So basically it said, okay, I want you to look at other students who are learning English through the use of social media. Okay? I hope this is going to work because the techie genie said it would. So, first of all, they write in, okay, search for students learning English with social media. Okay, I'm going to just run over here because it's easier for me to look. And then they throw up, and then they scroll down, and the first thing they look at are the comments. So what we see here, they're already using skimming and scanning skills, reading for gist, doing a lot of their reading skills, and they're coming up with ideas now. They're brainstorming, and this is part of the brainstorming process, and they do this with written homework, and they'll just write in whatever topic you give them, okay? I just put this one in for the purpose of this talk, okay? So I think it helps. I use Twitter, I use this, etc., etc. And here we can see already that they are already investing a lot of time, and they're reading a lot. We always think they're not reading, but they're reading a lot, and they're using very, very, very broad range of reading skills. Okay? Then they choose which one looks the most appropriate to the question that they want to look at or for their own use. And they'll choose one, and they'll go in now and start reading with slightly more depth to it, okay? So here's a nice one. I mostly learned English through social media. I learned the basics in school. I came across a lot of mistakes, etc., etc. So then, of course, you have to think about the prompts, and then it's our job really to start teaching prompts and how to write proper prompts to get the answers that they need, because if they're going to do it, it's the same with Google. We had to write, we had to learn this. I mean, I don't know if you're, I still do it sometimes. I'll just write in something stupid like Google or ChatGPT. Tell me, I don't know, tell me how many apples there are on my tree, and it's just random. But we've learned to write proper prompts now. But that's actually a writing skill that we can give, is how they can ask the correct questions, how they can look for the correct statements, etc. So this would be a basic prompt. Can you suggest some speaking activities for teaching past progressive? And this would be something a bit more specific. Imagine you're a teacher experienced in teaching English as a foreign language. Please purpose. So tell it what you want. Tell it exactly what you want it to give you. I'm not going to go through this, but this is when I asked ChatGPT, okay, to tell me how to write a prompt. Okay. These are how many points it gave me. It's rather extensive. Okay. Once they found out the information that they want, they then think about how they're going to put it into something they can give to us. And it does go a bit beyond cutting and pasting, okay? Because they know that we're looking for something authentic. So they now go into Perplexity. And now they ask something a bit more specific, that I'm looking for research articles on EFL learning via social media. And essentially what will happen is it will throw up a load of answers for them, okay, focusing on the mistakes that learners make, okay? And what you find here with Perplexity is they will send you, or they will throw up text for you, and you can click on the text, and these are all hyperlinks to actual articles. And you'll find this on whatever prompt. So this is something you can do with your students in class and show them, give them a piece of writing, and then show them, okay, write this into ChatGPT, then put this into Perplexity or Gemini or whichever platform you want to do, and take them through these stages, essentially. And then we also heard today about multi-literacies, okay? So Kat was talking about multi-literacies. Okay, digital literacy is, you know, digital safety, fact-checking. Are these sources authentic? Are they okay? Is this a good source? Where does it come from? Okay, so this is all part and parcel of what we can be doing in the class. And it's important because it shows them that we know what they're doing, and it's okay what they're doing, and we just want to help them do it properly. In English, basically. We want to help them do it better. Okay, so it will throw up a few. And then we go into Notebook LM, and these are the stages that they go through. Okay, so I put this together based on what they do, essentially. They then take these sources, and these can be from your course book, digital materials, texts from, and it doesn't matter which platform, whether it's an MM1, whether it's NGL, or we've seen some wonderful platforms with Helbling and everybody's got their platforms. It doesn't matter where they get those texts from. The fact is they're going to then put it in here, and then, more often than not, they're going to generate a lovely podcast, and they're not going to read any of it in the end, and they're just going to listen to it because they work with multimodality all the time. I hope this is going to play. My techie genius. Play. Why you not play? Okay, I would just want it to play. Play.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. This time, we're going to be looking at something I think a lot of you might find pretty interesting. Social media and how it's being used to learn English as a foreign language. We're really diving deep into the research here.
Definitely.
Yeah, we've got 2 academic papers and even a journal article all looking at this.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll be talking about the opportunities and challenges.
So, I'm not going to play this, but how many of you listen to podcasts? Okay. Does that sound like an authentic podcast? 2 people talking about learning EFL randomly through the use of social media. And that was all generated through AI because we found a couple of articles, we uploaded them onto an AI platform, and the AI platform turned it into a podcast, which I don't need to now read those 2 articles. I can listen to them while I'm cooking dinner. And this is what our students are doing. And that is a big wow. And this is something for us to actually be really proud of, that they're doing this. They're actually investing a lot of time and a lot of energy, and they're actually using a lot, and I mean like a super lot, of their English language skills in order to do this. And are they really cheating the system then? They're actually doing a hell of a lot more than they would have done if they'd actually sat down with a piece of paper and a pencil and wrote about their lovely weekend in the countryside. Okay? So I've put this in the framework of learning language through social media, but we did this study with them also producing texts on Halloween, their weekends in the country, a holiday by the sea, writing discursive essays for their exams. We gave them the questions from the exam and took it away and said to them, if you want to use AI, use AI. If you want to do it yourself, do it yourself. But if you use AI, I want you to tell us what you did. And I want you to put the stages there. I want to see what you're using AI for. And the minute that I started saying to them, okay, do it, just tell me what you're doing. Because then we're going to have a look at what you're doing, and then I'm going to help you to do it more effectively and more appropriately. And then they realized that, okay, they're not being naughty, they're not doing. Those of them that wanted to cheat, they didn't even bother, they just wrote it out themselves, because the point was to cheat, was to be the rebel. But when I told them, you're not rebelling, I'm going to help you do this, I took the fun out of it. But the point is, it's amazing what they're doing, and it's something that should be celebrated, really. So, is it reliable? We used to say no, but that's not the case anymore. The answer is not always, okay? Because it's a fed system. But when you use these and you show them which platforms they should be using, so things like Perplexity that actually are linked to published articles, for example, okay, if you're looking at higher level, proficiency level, exam preparation, for example, if you want them to be employing critical reading skills and you want them to be working with, slightly more high functioning texts, then, direct them in that way. Just know that not all platforms are always reliable, but they're becoming more and more reliable. And the more we feed them, the more reliable they'll get. But it also depends who's feeding them and with what, okay? So that's also something to be aware of. Our learners are natural-born critical thinkers and problem solvers. And this is something also we can be grateful to the lockdown period for, because they were forced to. We were all forced to become critical thinkers, okay, and problem solvers. We just didn't always harness this in the classroom. We didn't show them how to harness these skills in the language classroom, okay? But these kind of stages really, really do improve their critical thinking skills. So I think this is a really lovely quote to kind of end on. That what we're interested in is the right blend of human and artificial intelligence. And that's how the day started off. We had two talks, well, not on this subject, but they were mentioned in the introductions from the British Council and the NGL, speakers of this blend, that no, we're not going to be going out of business. AI is not going to ever take over the role of the teacher, but we've got to make friends with it, and we've got to show our users how to use it safely and appropriately, and how to harness all of that language that they're learning outside of the classroom, because there's nothing wrong with it, and we're never going to stop it. They're going to learn it. And I think in many, many cases, I know a lot of teachers who are struggling with the fact that they cannot keep up with the speed at which their students are learning English. And a lot more of what we're doing is about raising awareness of how to use language appropriately in various contexts now than actually teaching in many levels, where we've got students who are really very active digital communicators. So we have to identify this sweet spot. And we can create this sweet spot, okay? Because there are lots of sweet spots to be found in this, I think. So I would just like to say thank you very much for being here and for your attention. Please find us at the stand in the exhibition hall. Petros has been there all day and will be there. I'm still around. Find me if you want to take this conversation further. If you want to ask anything, that's my email address. Take a picture of this slide. Please do send me emails. I love getting them, and I promise you that I will reply to them. So thank you very much indeed. And if you've got any questions or comments.